Emmanuel, who is from Imo State, Nigeria. Emmanuel is a trader in the village market. He's married to his beloved wife Vivian and has 3 beautiful daughters, Elizabeth, Queeneth, and Mildred. Emmanuel was nice to everyone around him except his family. He always pressured his wife to give him a male child that will take over his name and add to the growth of the family. My name is Emmanuel. My name and generation can't end with me. Give me a son, he always mentioned. Female children are expensive and are liability who will soon be married off, he would often say. Emmanuel doesn't give money to his wife, no matter the situation. He always told her not to worry, that he was going to buy whatsoever they needed on his way back. If you want me to treat you like a queen, give me a prince, he always mentioned. Vivian always endured all he said, and made sure never to mention any of this to the children. She always told them, "Your father loves you all and will do anything to protect you." Hearing this, they were so excited. The girls were brave, intelligent, and well-mannered. Vivian didn't have much things doing, apart from her little sewing business, which she did in her home. She didn't have money to rent a shop. She saw this as an opportunity to be available always for her daughters whenever they returned from school, so as to help them with their assignments. She didn't have many customers patronizing her because most villagers preferred going to the market, where they got to choose different styles and also get to bargain. One faithful day, Emmanuel came back from work and told his wife to make him unripe plantain porridge, which she did. After serving her dear husband, he immediately shouted her name angrily. "Vivian, Vivian, come here. What kind of food is this?" Vivian quickly ran towards him, saying, "My dear husband, what have I done?" he said angrily. "Woman, taste the rubbish you served me." Upon tasting, she found out that the pepper was too much. She quickly apologized to him and asked if she could make another one, but Emmanuel quickly responded, "So, that salt will be too much." Elizabeth, the eldest daughter, was on her way to the kitchen to return her plates after eating her meal, and heard her father shouting at the top of his voice. Just for her to take a look at who he was talking to, she was shocked to find out it was her mother. She felt bad, but couldn't question her elders, so she left. The next morning, she stylishly asked her mother about the event that happened last night, but Vivian dismissed it, saying it was nothing and, "Your father won't ever look down on me." Days went by, and Vivian started attending a tailoring school to improve her knowledge when the kids were off to school. But Emmanuel was head-bent on frustrating her and making her look like nothing for not giving him a male child. He always told her she was selfish. She has female children to help her, but he has no one. He made it look like she was the only issue here. Month passed, and Vivian took in. She told Emmanuel that this would be her last pregnancy, but Emmanuel replied her saying it should better be a male child. She kept on with her daily life. As her stomach grew, Emmanuel kept on reminding her to go and meet the midwives to examine her, to know what sex she's carrying, and told her if she wasn't carrying a male child, she should pack her things and leave his house, and if she's too ashamed to return to her father's house, she should be ready to accept a co-wife. Vivian went to the midwives the next, and to her greatest surprise, she was pregnant with a male child. She was so excited, she thanked the Lord for prayers answered. She refused telling it to anyone, not even her best friend Olivia. Whenever she was questioned by her husband about the sex of the baby, she would reply she hasn't gone to confirm the sex yet. With everything happening, Emmanuel refused pampering her like every other man would do to their pregnant wife, nor giving her maximum attention. He thought in his heart, "She's carrying another liability and doesn't want to tell me, so I can wait for her to give birth." Elizabeth, the first daughter who closely observed the attitude of her father, was always there to help her mother, seeing that her mother wasn't strong enough to carry out all her daily activities. Queeneth and Mildred also tried to do the house chores, while Elizabeth made meals. When it was time for Vivian to give birth, she invited the midwives to her home. She had already cleaned it and prepared a room for the arrival of her baby. Vivian gave birth to a baby boy. Emmanuel was asked to come and carry his child. Reaching the baby's room, he was told, "Your baby is a male child." He screamed for joy, carried his son up, and named him David. Emmanuel tried winning Vivian over with gifts, but she wasn't really moved. She was grateful to God for giving her a male child, whose birth has brought peace in her home. David is now 5 years old and isn't walking. The villagers gossiped, saying, "This child is cursed. Why isn't he walking and nor attempt to crawl? David was carried around like an infant." The gossip gradually built in Emmanuel's heart, and he came back one sunny day and chased Vivian and her kids away, calling her a witch who has cursed her own child. Vivian couldn't bear the shame of returning to her father's house because her parents warned her of Emmanuel, but she said she loved him and he was the right man for her, so she carried her children and moved to a different village. Ladies heard that Emmanuel was looking for a new wife, and different maidens showed interest in him, showing off their different shapes, color of skin, ability to cook, and so on. Emmanuel picked a wife named Blessing, who took in immediately after marriage and gave birth to a boy who was named Cephas. He was glad. He felt like his glory had been restored. No one cared to ask about Vivian. She was like a forgotten issue. Years passed. The kids are all grown and doing great. David is walking with his feet. Not just that, he was done with his secondary school and about to enter the university. Elizabeth, the first daughter, is engaged to be married, but when her husbands, people came for her hands in marriage, they asked for her father, and Vivian said he wasn't available at the moment. Vivian and Elizabeth were told the right of marriage is discussed with a male figure of the family, not a woman. Elizabeth felt bad, but her mother promised she will send for her father and told her she wasn't going to delay her wedding and happiness for any reason. So Vivian returned to her husband's village, went to Emmanuel's home, and pleaded his ordinances. She told him that someone has come for their daughter's hand in marriage and would like to see him as he is still alive. When they were done with the meeting, that was when she noticed that her husband was looking very slim, like someone who wasn't feeding well, and the compound wasn't well kept. She asked him of the second wife, and Emmanuel said they left him. She quickly asked what happened. He then narrated his ordeal. "Blessing married me for my money. The business suffered great loss after I was dumped by some investors. When we could barely feed, Blessing told me the child wasn't mine, and she married me seeing I was desperate to have a son, and she was pregnant with one. Since I can't afford to feed them well, it was better she returned to her lover." Vivian had pity on him, but she couldn't do anything to help him. The day for the meeting came, and Emmanuel went to Vivian's place. The marriage rites were discussed and done appropriately, and the wedding ceremony took place. Seeing his family was doing okay, Emmanuel asked for their forgiveness, which they forgave him, but told him they won't return to his home. They have forgiven him as a father, but it was better to live apart. The moral lesson of this story points at the importance of valuing and respecting all members of the family equally, regardless of gender or societal expectations. It teaches us that every individual, regardless of their gender or role in the family, deserves love, respect, and support.
Please like, subscribe, comment, share, turn on the notification bell to get more interesting stories like this.